Welcome back, guys, to another day in the southern Philippines. Today I'm going to be answering a question that somebody posed in the comment section of my channel, and they asked me how or what I missed about living in the United States. Kind of got a sore throat today, so bear with me, but I really had to ponder that because there's really not much that I miss. So I thought about it really hard, and I came up with really 8 things that I do miss about the United States, and I'll kind of qualify that at the end. But the first one was I obviously miss my family. So my mom just turned 70, my dad's 72, so I miss both of them. I've got 3 sisters, I've got nieces, I've got uncles and aunts, I've got lots of cousins, so I miss being together with all of my family and being able to see them. We all lived very close together in the United States. So that's one thing. Of course, they're free to come and travel to visit me if they want to, but we don't get to see each other very often. The second thing I really miss kind of goes hand in hand with the family, but it's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was by far my favorite holiday ever in the United States. And one of the reasons for that is for every year of my entire life, my mother's side of the family always got together for a family reunion. So when I was a little kid, you know, it was literally probably 100 people on that side. And even later in life, for the last, say, 20 years since I've been an adult, it's basically been all of my sisters, my aunts and uncles, my cousins, my grandparents until they passed. And I just love the holiday of eating all of the food, the turkeys, the fellowship that we have together. And you don't have really the Thanksgiving anywhere else in the world. It's an American holiday. Few places have mimicked it and do it, but even if I were to do Thanksgiving here in the Philippines, still not going to have all of that family together and the family reunion. Now, as far as food items, there's really only 2 things that come to mind, so this will be number 3 and number 4 respectively. I'm not a big soft drink drinker. Don't drink a lot of soda. But the one thing that I did occasionally, maybe once a month in the United States have, when I'd stop at a convenient mart, is what's called a chair wine. And so chair wine is, I've never actually seen it outside the southern United States, but it's kind of like a cherry Coke on steroids. It is really absolutely delicious. And it's still made with the pure cane sugar, so it doesn't have, at least in the bottles when you get them in the States, it doesn't have the corn syrup, fructose syrup, or anything like that. You just won't see those outside the United States. I'll tell you what, if anybody here has ever seen those outside the United States, let me know. Now, you can find even some more unusual soft drinks outside the United States. I had never, up until this trip to the Philippines, seen Dr. Pepper outside the United States. Didn't mean it didn't exist, it just means it wasn't there. And I finally saw some at the S&R in Davao the other day. And again, I'm not a big soft drink person, so I didn't buy any, but my wife absolutely loves Dr. Pepper, so she picked her up a 6-pack. And they were like, I think they were $1 a can or something, so there was a premium on it. Now, the second type of food that I really miss in the United States, and I could recreate this, so it's not exactly fair, it's the convenience thing of, I really like ready-made, convenient, southern barbecue style and southern poor people food is what I call it, like pinto beans and onions and cornbread and stuff like that. And you don't have restaurants outside this, really the southern United States, where you can just walk in and get some quick southern goodness in your stomach. Now, number 5 and 6 kind of go together. So one thing that I do miss about the United States is the convenience and the affordability of having Amazon, where you can just order something online, have it shipped in a day or 2 to your house cheaply, efficiently, and you can get just about anything, at least before supply chain shortages got to your house. And although they have things like that in the Philippines, such as Lazada or in other places that I've been to, in Thailand, the selection is not as good. There's not as much stuff that you can get. It's not as reasonably priced, and it's not as easy to get there. Now, the good news here in the Philippines, I just found this out last week, is we now on selected items are going to have free shipping under $200 and over $50 to the Philippines with no customs or duties. And so that really has changed a lot. I went through there and looked at it. Again, it's mostly smaller items. You're not going to ship really big items through it, but that's really going to be a game changer for life here in the Philippines. And the other one that kind of goes hand in hand with that, as far as shopping goes, is cheap electronics. And so outside the United States, phones, cameras, hard drives, things like that, computers, you will never find them really as cheap as you can in the United States. The only place in Asia that I've heard of that's even close to the prices is Singapore, and again, that would be a little trip. But the United States is much cheaper on those electronics devices than anywhere that I've been in my travels around the world. And it's substantial. It's 25, sometimes 40% cheaper. So number 7, I am from the Smoky Mountains. That's where I was born. And I really miss that mountain chain. There are other geographical and landmarks and parks around the world, but I've never seen anything like the Smoky Mountains in my entire life. That climate, it's free, it's so huge. And nothing in all of my travels has come close to that park. And I really enjoyed going up to the streams and the rivers and the woods my entire life, and it was literally a 10, 20, at the most 30 minutes away, and I could be in that nature. It was free, it was just vast, and it was wonderful. And the final thing that I miss, and this is a big one, is the easy, very affordable, cheap actually, availability of books. Small rectangular objects with paper in them and words that you read. For those people who are like me before the internet. And I've always been somebody who reads a lot. I've got about 5 books with me right now. And yes, I can find books here in the Philippines. I could find them in Thailand. I could find them in Serbia. But finding the amount and selection, either online or offline, you just can't find that in the like you can in the United States. Also, you're looking for them in English, which is, in some countries, is going to be a much more limited selection. And even here in the Philippines, the amount of books that you can find at the bookstore, it's just rare. You're not going to have that big of a variety. You're not going to have easy access to lots of different titles on there. And they're much, much more expensive. So those are the things that I miss about the United States. Realistically, there's very little else that I do miss. Now, there are other things that you might miss on a day-to-day basis in the United States, but for the most part, and this list does not include them, are things that you can actually get in other countries. So there are some restaurants or stuff that I like in the United States that I do miss occasionally, but I can hop over to Singapore, I can go up to Manila, I can go to Bangkok, Thailand, nearby, and never have to set foot in the United States and have access to some of those restaurants. The same way with certain foods. A lot of people will get on and they'll talk about the steaks and stuff like that. Well, I can get those here in the southern Philippines. When I was in Davao, I had a wonderful Angus USDA piece of beef that was cooked for me, and it was less than $25 a plate for that. With all the fixings and everything else, it was delicious. So again, you can find those places. You might have to go to a different country nearby. You might have to go to a major city, and you might have to pay a lot more money for them. But pretty much anything else that I need in the United States or would want in the United States, I can find abroad. All right, guys, that's it. If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can actually find me again. And then hit the like button if you found this information helpful so that other people can see it and they can learn from it. And maybe the algorithm will show it to more people. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.